You owe it to yourself to know what it's like on the other side after getting through moments where you wanted to quit. Those moments are, to me, what makes life worth living. Being consistent is the one thing that is standing in the way between you and your goals and completing your New Year's resolutions and implementing habits that are going to change your lifestyle. We are right in the middle of January, so we are getting pretty close to the time when most people start to fall off the wagon with their New Year's resolutions, where the novelty has worn off and it doesn't look so shiny and pretty anymore. We're getting into the good stuff. We're getting into the tough places that really test if you want this or not. So there is no more important time than now to stay consistent. And that's what this video is about the process of how to keep going in moments where you're struggling to keep going, where you just want to quit, and not so much about the end goal. Because, we've all seen enough videos this new year about the importance of making habits, but we got to dig a little deeper. We're focusing on how to get there, not so much about what happens when you're there. So how do you actually keep going in a moment where you want to quit? Maybe consider answering these questions for yourself. What if you keep going? What is the best that could happen? And what is the worst that could happen? And a little hint, the worst that could happen is that it doesn't work out. In doing research for this topic, I found some amazing motivational speakers and some really great books to help back up and break down the points that I want to make. So we should just start with why it is that you are having trouble following through. And I found an amazing article that is an excerpt from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, that is wildly popular right now. I've never read it, but this article blew me away, so I might actually read the book. But it all comes back to science, and that our brain values immediate rewards more than it values long-term rewards. It craves that immediate gratification. So our brain's already working against us. That's fun. But he describes this experience as the acrasia effect, which he didn't coin that phrase. Apparently it goes all the way back to over 1500 years ago with our man Socrates. And so the acrasia effect is a combination of both lack of self-control and procrastination. So great. I have a new word for how I, like to live my life. And James Clear writes about it as the state of acting against your better judgment, the moment when you are doing one thing but know you should be doing something else. It's really common. And this instant gratification takes so much self-control to power through because it's simply just against how your brain is wired to function. But overcoming instant gratification is a huge part of the process of achieving your goal and being consistent, because it creates that bridge. It bridges the gap between you and your goal. But while it bridges the gap, it can also send you right back over that bridge, right back to where you started. But if you're consistent and push through, then that won't be an issue. So now that we've covered why we don't follow through, let's eliminate shame and guilt from this conversation. What's in the past is in the past. What didn't work out before is in the past. This is now your new chance to stay consistent for yourself. So just as a preface, I know you know how to set goals by this point, but we're gonna just go over it briefly, getting as specific as you can, identifying that goal and the time frame in which you want to complete that goal, spelling out how you're going to complete that goal, and then recognizing your why you want to complete that goal. At this point, I'm sure you've already done all of that, but if you haven't, it's extremely important to become really clear so that all you have to do in the process is just show up, which is the hardest part. By doing this step of creating your what, when, where, how, why, who, what, when, where, why, the what, the when, the how, and the why, then you don't have to think about it throughout the process. The why is especially important because that is going to help keep you motivated in the moment in order to do that, but there are going to be a lot of moments where motivation simply isn't there. And that's when I turn to Mel Robbins. If you haven't heard of Mel Robbins, man, she is incredible. Her YouTube channel is so inspiring, and her book, The 5-Second Rule, is incredible. and goes way more into detail than I'm going to go in this video. So definitely check that book out. I'll link it in the description. She goes deeper than just creating your why. She says that knowing why you want to do it or need to do it will never be enough. She says that knowing what you need to do will never be enough, and that sometimes the motivation just won't be there. But what you really need is something that's going to spring you into action in that moment to actually do the thing. And that is where the 5-second rule comes into play. And she backs it up with science that if you have an impulse to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will just kill the idea and talk yourself out of it. How many times have we talked ourselves out of doing something that we know is good for us? I do that all the time. So this whole 5-second rule concept is just about getting out of your head and into your body. If we use running as an example, you're really excited the night before to do the thing, and then you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden the motivation is completely gone. And then you lay in bed, in your warm bed, and think about how much you don't want to leave the warm bed. This is so relatable. But you've already missed that moment where you just need to spring into action and not think about it and just do the thing. So moving past the 5-second rule, make it as easy for you as possible in order to do the thing. And that's why it's important just to focus on implementing one change or one resolution or one goal at a time. Because if you fully flesh out one goal, there's a lot that goes into just changing one thing in your life. There's a ripple effect just changing one habit in your life can have on everything else. And it does take time for you to adjust to it. So in making it easier for you to do the thing, identify where else you need to be consistent in order for you to be consistent with the thing you want to be consistent with. Did that make any sense? Let me give you an example. We'll just stick with the running example. In order to run more consistently, I need to be more consistent with doing my laundry so that I have clean clothes to run in. I need to make sure I'm more consistent with drinking water so that way I'm hydrated for my runs. Things like that. And it does help to know yourself a little bit where you tend to fall off the horse in your consistency, where you've gotten off track in the past, and then make plans to eliminate that problem from even coming up in your process of achieving your goal. So for running, it's hard for me to really get out of bed and I just tend to press snooze and then I never get up to run. So I know myself. If I don't set out my clothes the night before a run, I won't get up and run. If you set yourself up for success in that way, normal times when you would fall off the horse, you will find that you won't be doing that anymore and you'll just stop making excuses and then just do it. So from experience, I've learned that I'm way more likely to stick to something if I don't risk burnout, if I don't get too ambitious right in the beginning. And honestly, if I can see an end in sight, I'm way more likely to stay motivated. For example, running. In the beginning, I told myself just run 3 times this week, and after this 1 week, you never have to run ever again. I was that dramatic. But in the moments of the run, when I was like, I wish this was over, I would think, oh, well, after this week, I never have to do it again. And sure enough, by the end of the week, I had seen enough progress where I was like, you know what, I could just keep going. So I did. And then I went for another week. And then sure enough, after 3 weeks or a month, I started to see a habit. And now it's not even me questioning if I'm going to continue with that consistency. It's just, I just do it. Like I could have stopped after that 1 week, but the progress was enough to keep me pushing onward because I knew how freaking hard it was to get to that point and I didn't want to throw all my progress away. Maybe that tool will work for you. Scheduling time for fun activities or little rewards after building the habit also really help, like making a smoothie after a run. It's food, it's nourishment, and it tastes really good, and I look forward to that while I'm working out. Or a hot bath with Epsom salts. Schedule that time in so that way, no matter how busy you are, it's a non-negotiable. You are going to treat yourself for doing the thing. And that, for me, has proven to work. Other ways to keep yourself from falling off the horse and to keep yourself motivated is to find a system of accountability, whether that be a friend, a family member, a Facebook group, or even a habit tracker I'm finding is really useful. The only issue with using your friends or family as accountability is that then it is now their responsibility to make sure you do the thing. And if they fall off the wagon, keeping you motivated, then you will fall off too. So it's best to just not put that responsibility on another person. But if it was like, I'll send you a text when I'm about to do the thing, or when I don't want to do the thing, I'm going to text this friend. So it's not them trying to force you to do your goal, because this is about you, not them. It's you having someone to share your excitement with. But the ultimate goal, at least in my experience, is self-accountability, because I don't want to have to rely on other people for me to actually get shit done in my life. Nothing wrong with that, but that's just how I prefer to do it. And that comes with becoming faster at forgiving myself if I make a mistake or if I fall off track. And it's just really important to me that I keep going even if I take a day off. But from the get-go, I tell myself that if I fall off track, then I have to start from square one. Like right now in my yoga challenge, if I miss a day, then I can't just keep going. For me personally, it's better for me to say, I will have to start from the very beginning, so then I'm way less likely to make up excuses. And I also find that if I miss a day because I'm making excuses, or if I'm too lazy or don't want to do the thing, then I tend to make excuses more down the line, and then I'm not actually building the habit. I'm just getting in the habit of working with excuses that I'm making up. Again, it's different for everybody. I came across a concept called the dip, which was created by Seth Godin. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he states that anything worth having is going to have a messy middle, and that pushing through this plateau is what separates the quitters from the people who actually see extraordinary results and who become very successful. And I really like this concept because it's realistic. If you're anticipating knowing that things are going to get hard after a couple weeks, then you have more time to prepare for it, and it's not just a shock. So, as the title of the video states, you owe it to yourself to be consistent. But ultimately, you deserve to see what's on the other side. You deserve to be able to answer the question, what if I just keep going? And if it's truly not for you, wait to make that decision until after you've completed your goal. Allow yourself to get there before deciding. Otherwise, quitting early is just a cop-out. And it's tricky that changing one thing about your life has a ripple effect on everything else. So it's really just going to be a process, and being consistent is a part of being kind to yourself. It's building a support system and accepting change and problems as they arise and then working through it. The only person you owe a chance at change to is yourself. You never owe anybody else anything when it comes to your time and your energy, because this is your life. I hope this helped motivate you to keep going and to keep growing and to keep pushing yourself. And if it doesn't work out, that is okay. But at least after trying, you know for sure that it wasn't meant for you, and that you can focus your time and energy on other things, and you will never have to wonder what if ever again about that thing. But you wouldn't have known if you hadn't given it your all. Good luck with pushing through your New Year's resolutions. Please use the comment section as a way to support each other, or if you have any other tips for pushing through really tough moments and staying consistent, I'd love to hear about it. So if this video is helpful for you, or if you liked it, obviously click that like button and make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell so you won't miss an upload. I will see you next time.